It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the ones and twos. Pittsburgh Steelers spit out a depth chart the other day that had Russell Wilson as QB1, yet don't believe he's going to play against the Houston Texans tonight. And Justin Fields will. And then Mike Tomlin was asked, is this a quarterback competition? And he went, yeah, it is a quarterback competition. He has been kind of open and borderline funny so far in the preseason. Brooke Pryor covers the Pittsburgh Steelers for ESPN, also covers the NFL, and we have her phone number. She joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Have you noticed almost a lightheartedness of Mike Tomlin?
You know, it's funny. I don't know that he actually, compared to what he normally is in the preseason, I think he's less lighthearted
Really?
Than he normally is. He's usually in a really good mood. I think he's almost in a sassier mood. We're getting regular season Mike Tomlin right now during this quarterback kind of competition, what he calls a competition, but I'm not entirely buying.
So you think it is, when they named Russell Wilson QB1 of the depth chart, do you think that it is Russell in week one?
I think for week one, yes, Russell Wilson will start. But what I think with Justin Fields is that the better he performs during camp, and especially in these preseason games, the shorter the leash is for Russell Wilson. The more, Justin Fields is showing off his footwork and the versatility and dynamic element that he brings to the offense as a runner with some of these throws that he can make on the run, the play action, the RPOs, all of those things. The more he does that, the stronger I think his case is to unseat Russell Wilson if he doesn't come out of the gate hot.
Brooke Pryor is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So this is an opportunity, just in reading things about Fields in practice, it's been kind of a mixed bag. So how different is the offense going to be with Russ and Justin?
I think that the difference is Russell Wilson has a higher floor. His ceiling isn't as high as Justin Fields. I think that Justin Fields is the high-risk, high-reward option, that he's going to make some really exciting plays downfield. He's got a really good connection with George Pickens. He's looked good with Van Jefferson, but sometimes he'll sail a pass high, or he won't get through his reads as fast as he needs to, or he just won't make the right decision and leads to some pretty questionable plays.
Right.
Russell Wilson, I think, is the safer option that isn't going to make as many mistakes. I don't know that he's going to be the different. He's not going to lose you a game, but I don't know that he's going to win you a game. He's almost, I hate to say Kenny Pickett-like option, because that just really, I think, triggers some people. But I mean it in a complimentary way, in terms of because he's a veteran, he's not going to cost you games, but I don't know that he has that extra wrinkle at this point in his career the way that Justin Fields does.
What is the likelihood of the way their offense is going to be? It's not going to be a wide open offense. It's not like they've got vintage Ben Roethlisberger and 4 or 5 receiving options and are going to be throwing her all over the place. It's going to be more of a running style anyway, right?
Exactly, and that's why I think that it makes all the sense in the world to start out with Russell Wilson, because your game isn't predicated on throwing the ball a ton, on having these deep home run balls all the time. I mean, this is an offense that's going to lean heavily on the run game, that's invested a lot of resources to have a really strong offensive line. All of the things that you want to see out of a balanced offense, and that fits Arthur Smith's style. He is going to run the ball. The Pittsburgh Steelers want to run the ball. And because of that, you can have, again, hate to use the term game manager, but you can have more of a game manager type quarterback to run the system. You don't need the big play guy. At least, starting out, see how that goes, and then transition if you need to. But it's a lot harder to go from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson than it is to go from Wilson to Fields.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN, at BE Pryor on Twitter. She covers the Steelers. We'll talk about a couple of other teams here as well before we have to say goodbye. But I am curious. A lot of people are interested in Payton Wilson and what they can expect of him, not just tonight, but over the course of the season. How have they been using him in preseason? Can you give me a status report?
I think that he has looked really good. He's played with the ones a bit. He's really impressed me in coverage as just a long, lanky linebacker. He's also crazy strong. I think that he can really be a 3-down linebacker. They've been obviously searching for one since Ryan Shazier's catastrophic career-ending injury. To me, he's kind of the next guy that they're trying to find to fill that role. I've been really impressed with him. Although I will say he is an NC State guy through and through, and he said on local radio up here, they were interviewing him, asked who he rooted for growing up, and he said, North Carolina, where I'm from, he's from Apex area, said not a big, pro area, as we know. So he grew up a UNC fan. And then, as we all know, he flipped and went to NC State, and he said on the radio, UNC is just a wine and cheese crowd. And I heard that he said that, and I walked up to him in the cafeteria yesterday, and I said, I got a bone to pick with you. And his eyes got really big. He was wearing a Wolfpack shirt.
Right.
And I said, you said UNC's a wine and cheese crowd. And he said, oh, get out of here, and walked away. So he's great. I really enjoyed talking with him. And I think that, he's everything that you want out of a young linebacker, really hard worker, really strong guy. And I think adds just another option to an inside linebacker room that has some thumpers, some guys that can really get after it in run coverage, like Landon Roberts, like Patrick Queen. But he's taller and lankier, and he tipped a Justin Fields pass over the middle. I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was a Russell Wilson. I think it was a Russell Wilson pass. So I've been impressed with him so far.
Here's the thing that first of all, he's super versatile. I'm not surprised that he would be good in coverage because he is so fast, and he's a great athlete, and he's a super smart player as well. I mean, to me, he's a guy that you could almost utilize anywhere. You could utilize him on the edge, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that he can be moved all over the field. We haven't seen him on the edge so far in training camp, at least not that I can recall. I think they're trying, to not overwhelm him as a rookie. But I think that he's someone to keep an eye on. He fits the Steelers prototype. I've also just really liked watching him in backs on backers. It's one of Mike Tomlin's signature drills. They go all out. They are tackling to the ground or trying to, just really beat up the other one. And he's held his own against guys like Jalen Warren, who was a bowling ball wrecking machine coming through there in one-on-one. So I think it has really turned a lot of heads. All
right, let me I just want your thoughts on this. I'm sure you at this point have heard or read about Jerry Jones not having a sense of urgency with CD Lamb. Before I get to that, real quick, any chance that Brandon Ayuk ends up with Pittsburgh as opposed to Cleveland or New England, who has already withdrawn because he wouldn't sign for $30 million apparently with the Patriots? Any chance he winds up in Pittsburgh?
I mean, isn't that the $30 million question? I think that right now it's Pittsburgh or staying in San Francisco. That's the way when I read the tea leaves, when I have conversations around the league and in Pittsburgh, it seems like the Steelers, there is absolutely mutual interest between the Steelers and Brandon Ayuk. However, the 49ers want more than what the Steelers are willing to give up. The Steelers, from what I've been told, do not want to give up any players. The 49ers want a piece in return that can win now, that will help them now instead of, just getting draft picks for next year. Because if all they were going to get for Brandon Ayuk is draft picks, this deal would have been done back before the draft. And I think that because of that, there's hesitancy on the 49ers side to deal him. There may be, a need to try to get the picks from Pittsburgh and then flip them into a receiver elsewhere, which then adds another layer of making this a complicated trade because you have to find that third partner. And that could be what's holding things up. But at this point, I think it's either Pittsburgh or staying in San Francisco. I don't see him going anywhere else to this point. The longer that this drags out, the more likely I think it is that he stays in San Francisco. But this is keeping me up all hours. I'm checking my phone at 2 a.m. to make sure that I haven't missed a deal. I wish that they were trying to get a wide receiver on the East Coast, so I'd know at least we're all going to go to sleep at a somewhat reasonable hour. Our business hours are not being extended.
It's very unfair for San Francisco and the Steelers to be doing this. Because of what it's doing to your sleep habits.
Exactly.
Brooke Pryor from ESPN is joining us here. All right. I have a theory, a working theory on why Jerry Jones does not have a sense of urgency in signing CeeDee Lamb is because I think Jerry is willing to blow it all up, knowing that he'd have to pay Dak Prescott almost $60 million a year, and that CeeDee Lamb is at the level where he's going to want Justin Jefferson money, and that's nearly $100 million for those two players, that he's willing to blow it up because he knows his team is not quite good enough. Does that make any sense to you?
I mean, I think it does make some sense, not only because Dak Prescott has so much money, but because Jerry has been so wishy-washy in his commitment to his stars, Dak Prescott among them, now CeeDee Lamb. I mean, if I'm playing for Jerry Jones, I'm just getting more and more frustrated that it seems like he doesn't value me as a player when he's given the opportunity. Like, it's an easy thing to just say, we love CD, we love Dak, we know we can win with them. You know, maybe you're trying to help yourself in these negotiations and not, you know, make yourself pay more for each guy by talking about publicly how good they are. But, like, if I'm those guys and I'm hearing this, and a CD tweeted last night, the LOL, and the quote tweet about Jerry not having any urgency, like, I'm just getting more and more disgruntled and saying, okay, to heck with you. I don't care, you know, if you have urgency or not. The second I can be out of here, I'm out of here. And so maybe that is the way that this is going with Jerry. At this point, nothing would surprise me because Jerry Jones is a wild card. And at this point, that feels like a plausible explanation because why else is he actively hurting his team at this point? Like, we're at the point in training camp where you need to have a guy like CeeDee Lamb be in there and working with these guys. So pay him or don't, but, like, let's move on. And he's just not.
Yeah, he does not appear interested, and that's why my theory is I don't know if it's right or not. Chances are it's not, but because, you know, Jerry is so competitive and he always thinks he's got enough, but I don't think they have enough, and I don't know that Jerry hasn't kind of figured that out as well. All right, let me ask you very quickly because we're going to see Patrick Mahomes play in the preseason. C.J. Stroud's going to play. Josh Allen's going to play. We don't know if Bryce Young's going to play. Where do you stand on that?
I think it's worth it to have the starters play in the preseason. I mean, everybody's got rust. I think especially the younger you are, the more important it is. But when I see guys like Patrick Mahomes go out there and play in the preseason, and he has repeatedly throughout his career, I think he's played in every preseason. Andy Reid's a big believer in at least getting them out there for a couple series. To me, it can only help you. Yes, there's always the risk of an injury when you go out there in the preseason, but I think it is shown to me it doesn't hurt you to play in the preseason because if that was the case, then the Chiefs wouldn't be back-to-back Super Bowl champs. They wouldn't be, you know, pursuing a three-peat. I like it. I think it's important to at least get out there, go through the motions. I mean, you have an opportunity to do these dress rehearsals, whether it's a series, whether it's a quarter, whatever it is. We all have an acclimation period to anything in life. Like, I know when I get back from vacation, I'm trying to remember my password to log into my email. You know, this is an opportunity for them to remember the password, auto save it, and then be able to get in more seamlessly. Like, I don't think it hurts. So if I'm the Panthers, I think it's worth it to play Bryce Young next week, a series or two, and just get him back out there on the field in a game like, in a football like, as Mike Tomlin likes to say, situation scenario. And, you know, I don't see any significant downside why you should not do it.
Is Lavelle Moten still hanging around Steelers practice?
He is not. He left last week. He was up here for a couple days with Jason Kidd. It was great to see him. He was here last year, too. He and Mike Tomlin are good friends.
Yeah.
They had the convention for the Next Step Coaches Conference in Raleigh this summer. So it's always fun when I'm at camp and I see a blast from the past just hanging out on the sideline with me.
Oh, my God. He is all about Mike Tomlin. By the way, that Next Up Coaches Conference got Julius Hodge hired as the basketball coach at Lincoln University. So already in less than a year, bearing fruit. Brooke Pryor, ESPN reporter. She covers the Steelers at BE Pryor on Twitter. Brooke, thank you very much. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. See ya.
Take care. Brooke Pryor here on The Adam Gold Show.